So imagine you've spent months running a study. Late nights, careful data collection, real insights. And then a reviewer reads your methodology section and says, "I can't trust this." All that work, gone. That happens way more than you'd think. A 2019 analysis in PLOS ONE found that 67% of rejected papers had methodology as the primary weakness. Not the findings, not the writing, the methodology. So here's what we're doing. 7 steps to write a methodology that no reviewer can tear apart. By the end, you'll know exactly how to design, justify, and defend every choice in your research. Let's get into it. Here's something most students get wrong about research, even grad students. They think writing a methodology is just listing the steps they followed, like a recipe. But it's not. It's the blueprint of your entire study, the thing that holds everything together. Think of it like building a house. You wouldn't just start hammering nails, right? You need a plan that explains not just what you're building, but why every wall is where it is. That's what a strong methodology does. It proves your research isn't random. It's deliberate. And that's the reason anyone should trust your findings. Now, here's a mistake I see all the time. People use the words methodology and methods like they mean the same thing. They don't. Not even close. Methodology is the big picture. Why did you choose this approach? What thinking is guiding your decisions? Methods are just the tools underneath. The surveys, the software, the lab equipment. And here's the thing. A reviewer will reject a paper with perfect methods if the methodology is weak. It's like having the best power tools in the world but no building plan. Doesn't matter how sharp your saw is. You need both. And they're not the same thing. Okay, the master floor plan. 7 phases, and they flow into each other like rooms in a building. Approach and design, then who you're studying, your instruments, the procedure, your data engine, ethical safeguards, and finally boundaries and justification. Why does the order matter? Because each phase depends on the one before it. You can't pick your sample before you know your design. You can't justify your limits before you know your methods. It's a sequence, not a menu. Miss one room, the whole thing falls apart. Check this out. This is where it gets interesting. Before you pick a single method, you need to set what I call your paradigm compass. 4 directions. Positivism says reality is objective. Go measure it. Constructivism says reality is shaped by people's experience. Go listen to them. Critical theory says knowledge is tied to power. Go look at inequality. And pragmatism? Just use whatever works. How do you pick? Look at your question. If you're asking how much, you're positivist. If you're asking what does it feel like, you're constructivist. Your compass sets the direction for everything else. Get this wrong, and nothing after it lines up. Once your compass is set, you pick your design. 3 lanes. Quantitative is all about numbers, variables, hypothesis testing. You're running regressions, doing ANOH-fuzz, producing data you can generalize. Qualitative is the other end. Words, stories, thick descriptions that capture the depth of real human experience. But here's what's interesting. Mixed methods combines both. You use one type of data to check the other. That's called triangulation. And a 2014 study in the Journal of Mixed Methods Research found that triangulated studies got cited 37% more often. That's a real edge. Your design choice shapes every decision after this. Look, this step trips up more researchers than any other. Defining the who. You need 2 things locked in. Your total sample size, that's your N, and your inclusion-exclusion criteria. Who's in, who's out. On one side, you've got probability sampling, where everyone has an equal shot at being picked. Simple, random, systematic, stratified, cluster. On the other side, non-probability sampling. Convenience, purposive, snowball, quota. These are driven by real-world limits. Neither side is better or worse. But here's the key. You must justify whichever one you pick. A reviewer's first question will always be, why these people? Have your answer ready. So you've got your participants. Now what are you actually using to collect data from them? This is where you lay out every tool. Surveys and questionnaires, but not just any. Validated ones with proven reliability, like the GAD-7 for anxiety. Interview guides, semi-structured or fully structured. Lab instruments with model numbers and calibration steps. Software like SPSS, R, STata, or NVivo. And here's the concept that ties it all together. Operationalization. Big word, simple idea. It means turning something abstract like stress or engagement into something you can actually measure. Your tools are only as good as how clearly you define what they're measuring. That's the whole game. This part? Most people rush through it. Big mistake. The procedural chronology is your step-by-step timeline of exactly what happened and when. Not what you planned to do, what you actually did. Past tense, always. You document the sequence, the intervention details like doses and durations, any randomization or blinding, and where it all took place. Why does this matter so much? One word: replication. If another researcher can't read your procedure and repeat your study exactly, you haven't written enough. Include numbers wherever you can. Think of your procedure section as your study's instruction manual. No guesswork allowed. All right, the data engine. Think of it as a funnel with 3 layers. At the top, data collection. The raw stuff pouring in, surveys, focus groups, field observations, records. Messy and unfiltered. In the middle, processing and cleaning. This is where you handle missing values, remove outliers, transcribe interviews word for word. Love this part. This is where rigor actually lives. At the bottom, analysis. You apply your framework, descriptive stats, regression, t-tests, or qualitative coding. Each layer narrows the funnel. Raw chaos, in, structured insight out. And here's the thing. Your analysis is only as good as the cleaning that came before it. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, analysis gets really interesting when you're working with words instead of numbers. 2 main lenses. Thematic analysis uncovers the why. You read through data, generate codes, hunt for patterns of meaning. It's exploratory and deeply human. Content analysis does something different. It counts the what. How often does a word appear? What trends pop up over time? Which one should you use? Depends on your question. Want to understand motivations? Go thematic. Want to track patterns across 1,000 responses? Go content. But here's what both have in common. Both need tight coding frameworks. No shortcuts. No eyeballing it. Ethics. This isn't just a box you check. It's a 3-layer shield protecting every person in your study. The outer layer? Institutional approval. Your IRB or ethics committee, following standards like the Declaration of Helsinki from 1964. The middle layer is informed consent. Every participant must understand what they're signing up for, the risks, and that they can walk away anytime. And the inner core? Privacy. De-identified data, fake names, encrypted storage, the right to withdraw. Think of it this way. If your study can't pass through all 3 layers of this shield, it shouldn't run. Period. This isn't optional. Here's an honest truth. No study is perfect. None. And pretending yours is, that'll get you rejected faster than any actual flaw. So use the AJM framework. Acknowledge the constraint. Just say it. Due to budget limits, convenience sampling was used. Then justify the choice. Explain why the trade-off was okay. Then mitigate. Show what you did to keep bias in check. Small sample sizes, non-probability sampling, self-reported data, short timeframes. Every study has these. The difference between a weak paper and a strong one isn't fewer limitations. It's how honestly you deal with them. Reviewers respect that. Reviewers will push back on your methods. Count on it. So you need 3 things ready. First, rule out the alternatives. Explain why you didn't use other approaches. Don't list every option, think in buckets. Second, back it with literature. Cite studies that use the same approach in a similar context. That's your armor right there. Third, be real about constraints. Time, budget, access, these are real, and reviewers respect honesty over hand-waving. Then tie it together with what I call the evidence-action formula. Pair a citation with your specific plan. Following best practice for qualitative research, this study used semi-structured interviews. Citation plus action. That's how you justify. If you're doing qualitative research, someone will ask, but is it rigorous? And you need a translation ready. In quantitative work, you prove internal validity, external validity, reliability, and objectivity. Qualitative research has direct equivalence. Through data triangulation, external validity becomes transferability. Through rich context, reliability becomes dependability through clear audit trails. And objectivity, that's confirmability. showing you've checked your own bias. This bridge was laid out by Lincoln and Guba in 1985. Know these translations. They're your defense when someone questions whether qualitative work counts as real science. It does. You just prove it differently. Last thing, and this is the test that matters most. I call it the reproducibility test. One question: can another researcher perfectly rebuild your study using only what you wrote? That's it. Go through the checklist. Is your timeline clear? Every step in order. Is your justification solid? Did you explain why you made each choice? Are your ethics documented? Are your materials accessible? Great methods don't just pull out data. They prove their own worth and lay the ground for the next study after yours. That's the standard. Your methodology isn't just a chapter in your paper, it's the thing that makes your work live beyond you.